She leans back against the pillow, her breath slow but uneven, and the way her fingers trace the edge of the sheet tells more truth than her lips ever will. Her body speaks in fragments of ancient code, in gestures older than words. And yet most men remain deaf to the language. They see only what is obvious, the curve of a smile, the softness of skin, never the shadowed signals that whisper her desire before she dares to voice it. In that silence, the game is already being played. A woman will never admit the signs you're about to uncover, because to confess them would dissolve her power, strip away the mystery, and expose the raw pulse of her attraction. The bedroom has always been an arena of unspoken wars. On the surface, it looks like closeness, intimacy, the merging of bodies, but beneath, it is a dance of dominance and surrender, a storm of symbols and secret cues. She tilts her chin, not to look away, but to invite you closer. She parts her lips slightly, not to breathe easier, but to spark a primal recognition in you that she is softening, lowering the guard of her fortress. She arches her back, and men think it is comfort, when in truth it is the unconscious offering of her most vulnerable self, the oldest ritual of female desire hidden in plain sight. You, the man, have walked past these signals countless times. You've mistaken hesitation for disinterest, silence for rejection, when often it was nothing but an invitation clothed in the safety of denial. For women cannot say outright what they want, not because they do not feel it, but because their very archetype demands that desire must remain veiled. They have been shaped by millennia of evolution to guard their longing, to test, to tease, to ensure only the man who sees beyond words earns the right to enter her secret temple. If you wait for her to say it, you'll wait forever. If you wait for her to declare it, she will vanish into the night, leaving you with nothing but regret and confusion. Her eyes are the first battlefield. Watch how they linger. Not long enough to be accused of staring, not short enough to mean indifference. She looks, then looks away, then looks again when she thinks you are blind. Each glance is a thread, woven into a net, meant to catch your attention without ever admitting guilt. If you miss it, she retreats. If you notice, but hesitate, she brands you as weak. But if you answer the glance with quiet confidence, with the presence of a man who sees through shadows, she yields more. The pupils widen, the breath deepens, the stillness grows charged. This is not random. It is the silent grammar of attraction. Her lips betray her too. She touches them, bites them, moistens them when the tension rises. Do you think it is a habit? No. It is unconscious mimicry of the moment of surrender, a rehearsal of intimacy. Before intimacy begins, every flicker of her tongue against her lip is a forbidden confession. She is already imagining you. She would never tell you this, never admit the truth, even if you confronted her. She would laugh, deny, call it coincidence, but her body cannot lie. And every gesture is a fragment of her secret desire, carved into the flesh like ancient scripture. And then there is the silence. Men fear silence, rush to fill it with words, with nervous laughter, with explanations, but she thrives in it. Her silence is a test, a provocation, a challenge. In the quiet, she reveals everything. How close she sits, whether her knees turn toward you, whether her breathing syncs with yours, She doesn't need to say a word, because the silence is the doorway, and only the man who can stand firm in it earns the right to step through. You, on the other hand, fumble. You look away. You crack a joke. You think she's disinterested, when in reality, she was waiting to see if you would break. Every time you fill the silence, you destroy the moment she built. Every time you rush, she pulls back into her fortress. You've ignored these signs before, haven't you? You thought she wasn't into you. When her whole body was already leaning closer, you thought she wanted to leave. When in truth, she wanted you to stay, but wouldn't admit it. You thought her coldness was rejection, when it was the deepest invitation, hidden under layers of denial. And so she slipped away, and you still wonder why. The forbidden truth is this: a woman will never admit the signals of her desire because they are not meant to be spoken. They are meant to be seen, deciphered, answered with presence. Her denial is part of the game, her concealment part of the ritual. She cannot say it, because once spoken, the magic dissolves. But if you learn to see it, to hear her body in the silence of the bedroom, you will hold a power most men never touch. You will walk into her shadowed temple, and she will open without a word, without a sound, because you understood what she never dared to confess. Her hands betray her before her voice ever dares to speak. A woman's hands are restless instruments, revealing what her tongue keeps chained. She adjusts the strap of her dress, though it doesn't need fixing. She runs her fingers along the stem of a glass, circling it like a secret thought. She brushes her hair behind her ear more often than habit would demand. Each motion a ritual of unveiling, a subconscious peeling away of armor. These gestures are not random. They are signals etched into the feminine body across centuries. Subtle sparks that ignite only in the presence of a man who awakens her desire. But most men, blind and distracted, dismiss them as nothing when she touches herself lightly. Her neck, her wrist, her collarbone. She is not scratching an itch. She is rehearsing. She is revealing, without admitting, the places she craves to be touched by you. The skin is the stage, and she maps it with her own hands, waiting for you to decipher her code. A man who cannot see this thinks she is bored. A man who sees it knows the truth. Her body is writing the script of her longing in gestures she cannot confess. To confront her would be useless. She would deny, laugh, wave it off as meaningless. But denial is the feminine cloak, the eternal mask of attraction. She hides it so that only the man who perceives may claim it. Consider the way she shifts her body. She leans in, not quite close enough to breach the boundary, but enough to graze it. Her knees angle toward you. Her feet point in your direction. Her shoulders tilt. It is the unconscious geometry of desire. Distance collapses in increments, as if gravity itself has chosen sides. And yet, if you asked her outright, she would feign innocence. I didn't mean anything by it. But meaning hides in silence, not in words. She is a fortress with gates half open, daring you to enter, testing if you are strong enough to walk through without trembling. And then there is her breath. Most men never notice the shift, but if you watch closely, you will see the subtle quickening when the air thickens between you. She inhales deeper, slower, her chest rising with quiet anticipation. It is as if her body is syncing with yours. preparing for the rhythm that has not yet begun. In those moments, her biology betrays her. No amount of denial can mask the surge of oxygen, the acceleration of pulse, the way her body is already preparing for union. She would never admit this, never confess, because to admit would strip away the veil that protects her mystery. Yet her body already speaks the truth. You, the man, so often miss it. You think she's merely comfortable. You assume her laughter is just amusement. When it's laced with tension, you believe her stillness is disinterest. When it's the silence of surrender, waiting for your move. How many times have you walked away, thinking she wasn't interested, when in reality you failed to see what she was screaming without words? How many nights have you spent confused, replaying conversations, wondering why she seemed hot and cold, when the truth was written on her skin, in her breath, in the way her hands betrayed her? The forbidden truth is this: female desire is encoded in subtlety. It must be hidden, wrapped in layers of denial, because to reveal it outright would make her too vulnerable, too exposed. Desire, for her, is dangerous. If she shows it openly, she risks rejection, shame, abandonment. So she veils it in gestures, cloaks it in silence, buries it beneath laughter. Only the man who understands the archetypal dance will see the signals for what they are, and only that man will be allowed to cross the threshold of her hidden longing. But you, have you been blind? Have you ignored the trembling of her fingers, the flicker of her eyes, the way her breath betrayed her calm? That blindness has cost you women you will never see again. They left not because you were unworthy, but because you were unseeing. And in the realm of desire, blindness is weakness. A man who cannot see is a man who cannot lead. And a woman will never surrender to a man who cannot lead. Her signs are there, always. Her body writes confessions she will never speak. Her silence hums with longing she will never admit. The question is whether you have the eyes to see it, the presence to answer it, the strength to stand firm in the storm of denial and uncover the truth beneath. If you cannot, you will remain forever in the dark, fumbling at doors that were already open, watching women slip into shadows you could not follow. There is a moment, brief and fragile, when the atmosphere changes. It's not announced, not spoken, not obvious, yet everything in her body shifts. Her laugh becomes softer, her eyes linger longer, and her movements grow slower, more deliberate. She may glance at the door, then back at you, as if checking whether the world outside has vanished. She crosses her legs, not out of comfort, but as a shield she secretly wants you to breach. The gesture is defensive, yet its defense is only meaningful if someone attempts to cross it. Here lies the paradox of feminine desire. What looks like resistance often hides its invitation. What looks like hesitation is the edge of surrender. The forbidden psychology behind these signs is primal. Women are not taught to say, "I want you." Instead, they are shaped to conceal it, to test whether a man has the eyes to see and the courage to act. Their unconscious knows that open confession is too dangerous. If she reveals too much, too soon, she risks rejection, judgment, shame. So she cloaks herself in ambiguity. Her words say one thing, her body another, and most men, enslaved by literal meaning, follow her words and miss the body entirely. They leave when they should stay. They wait when they should move. And in that hesitation, the moment dies. Watch her eyes when she's near. They will often dilate, the pupils widening in the half. Light. Biology betrays her in the one place she cannot control. She will look at you, then down, then back again, as if pulled by an invisible tether. She may brush against you accidentally, too often to be chance. That slight contact, that feather, touch of skin against skin, is not coincidence. It is the rehearsal of intimacy, the testing of proximity, the silent question, will you notice? And when you don't, when you pull away or remain frozen, she withdraws into silence, and you wonder why she grew cold. Her silence is never empty. It is charged, alive, vibrating with tension. If you can endure it, if you can remain calm while her eyes linger and her breath slows, you will see the truth most men miss. Silence is her offering. She does not want you to fill it with jokes or explanations. She wants you to hold it, to dominate it, to show her that you are not afraid of the weight of unspoken desire. In that stillness, she reveals more than she ever will with words. But if you panic, if you rush to break the quiet, you destroy the bridge she built. Her body leans toward you in increments, her shoulder brushing yours, her knee angling closer, her torso aligned with yours as if drawn by gravity. She may pretend distraction, fidget with her phone, adjust her hair, but her body betrays the truth. It cannot resist the orbit of attraction. She will never confess this. She will never say, I leaned closer because I wanted you. She will tell herself it was coincidence. Tell you she wasn't thinking about it. Yet the unconscious always speaks louder than denial. If only you have the eyes to see. And here is where you, the man, fail. You look for words. You ask her directly. You wait for confirmation. But attraction does not live in words. It lives in the tremor of her hand, the dilation of her pupils, the rhythm of her breath. Every time you wait for the explicit, you miss the implicit. Every time you demand clarity, you shatter the mystery. And mystery is where her desire hides. To see the signs is to enter her hidden world. To miss them is to be locked out forever. You've been in that moment before, haven't you? Sitting beside her, feeling the tension crackle, unsure if you should move. You doubted, you hesitated. You convinced yourself she wasn't interested. And then she pulled away, retreating into the armor of denial. You thought she rejected you, but the truth is harsher. You rejected yourself by failing to see what was right before you. That blindness is why she disappeared, why she lost interest, why she gave herself to another man who saw what you could not. The deeper truth is this: women are forbidden from speaking desire, but their bodies scream it in silence. They will never admit it, because to admit would strip them of power. But you are not meant to wait for confession. You are meant to see, to act, to lead. If you do not, you will be forgotten. Another shadow in her past. Another man who could not see the language of her body. And she will never tell you why. Her voice betrays her just as much as her body. Listen closely when she speaks in the half. Light of intimacy. The pitch softens, the cadence slows, and words spill in fragments instead of clarity. She lingers on vowels. Let silences hang between sentences, and sometimes stumbles where normally she would be sharp. It is not clumsiness. It is the unraveling of control. Desire has a way of breaking through the cracks in speech. She will never admit it. She will insist she was tired, distracted, in a strange mood. But her voice was already trembling with a secret she couldn't bear to speak. Even laughter changes. At a table among friends, her laugh is wide, loud, and public. But in the charged proximity of desire, it becomes softer, lower, almost nervous. She covers her mouth with her hand, as though to restrain what escapes. That laughter is not amusement. It is the body's attempt to disguise tension. It is her unconscious way of masking the truth that she feels vulnerable, exposed, pulled toward you. Do not mistake it for disinterest. Do not assume it means she isn't serious. It means the opposite. It means her mask is slipping. Her eyes, once playful, now flicker to your mouth. A glance, brief but undeniable. It is one of the oldest signs of longing, the body whispering its hunger while the mind denies it. The gaze toward your lips is an invitation she would never confess. Ask her later and she will laugh. Deny, dismiss, but her eyes do not lie. They move toward the place she imagines, toward the moment she is rehearsing in silence. That tiny flicker of vision is her unconscious reaching for you. Even the tension in her body reveals her hidden truth. She fidgets with jewelry, taps her fingers, curls her toes beneath the sheets. These are not signs of boredom, but of restrained energy, of heat struggling to remain contained. The feminine archetype has always been bound by denial. She cannot present desire openly, for openness risks too much. She must wrap it in layers of ambiguity, in gestures that seem innocent yet hold fire underneath. Men who cannot see this dismiss her as restless. Men who can see know she is burning. And then, the most dangerous sign, her stillness. There comes a moment when all the restless gestures vanish, when her laughter dies, when her eyes no longer dart but lock. She becomes utterly still, as if the world has stopped spinning. This is not indifference. This is the moment before surrender. Her body has silenced itself, waiting for your move, waiting to see if you are man enough to step into the storm. Most men panic at this silence, misinterpret it as rejection, withdraw into fear. But it is in that stillness where she is giving everything. That is the gate, and only the man who dares to cross it finds what lies beyond. You, the man watching this now, have stood in that silence before. You've felt it. The air thickened. Her gaze held. Her lips parted slightly. Her breath slowed. And instead of moving, you froze. You rationalized. You told yourself not to risk it. And by doing so, you betrayed the moment. You left her in her silence, unanswered, and she retreated into denial. She told herself you didn't want her. She convinced herself it was in her imagination, and the chance was gone forever. Do you see how many times you've done this? How many gates you've walked past without entering? The forbidden truth is this: her signals are always there, but she will never confirm them. She cannot admit them, because to admit would expose her, destroy her mystery, and risk her heart. That is why she hides behind laughter, silence, restless hands, darting eyes. She forces you to read the language she cannot speak. And if you fail, you are cast out. Not because she did not want you, but because you proved yourself unworthy of her secret world. Men search endlessly for clarity, for certainty, for permission, but certainty is the enemy of desire. The feminine thrives in the shadows, in ambiguity, in the game of signs that test whether you are truly a man who sees. If you wait for her to speak, you will wait forever. If you need her to confess, you will be blind. Only when you learn to read the forbidden language of her body will you ever hold the key. And when you do, you will realize the truth. Desire is never admitted. It is always signaled, always hidden, always waiting for the eyes that can finally see. She turns away, just slightly, her hair falling like a curtain between you. To the blind, it looks like distance. To the man who sees, it is provocation. The partial withdrawal is not rejection. It is the gravitational pull of the forbidden, the unspoken challenge to follow. Every subtle withdrawal is a doorway. Every small retreat an unconscious whisper daring you to step closer. She will never say it. She will never admit, "I wanted you to chase me." But that is the essence of her archetype. She hides so that you may prove you can find her. In the bedroom, these signs reach their most dangerous form. She lies back, not rigid but not fully relaxed, her body angled toward you, yet cloaked in the shield of denial. Her thighs cross and uncross, a rhythm as ancient as fire, a silent pulse of attraction she would swear was unintentional. She adjusts the sheets, exposing a shoulder, shifting her weight. These motions are not random. They are confessions encrypted into gesture, the language of her unconscious speaking, what her mouth never will. If you confront her, she will deny. If you accuse her, she will laugh. But if you answer without words, if you respond in the same silent code, she yields. Her breathing gives her away most of all. Shallow, quick, then steady again. A cycle of control and collapse. Her chest rises with the tremor of anticipation, her body betraying what her lips refuse to say. She might look at you and then look away, biting her lip as if catching herself in a thought. That glance, that hesitation, is the clearest confession you will ever see. And yet she will swear it meant nothing. She will insist it was coincidence. But you know better now. You know that the feminine archetype is forbidden from admission, bound eternally to cloaked desire in veils of denial. She cannot speak it. She must signal it. And this is where men fail. They demand permission, waiting for her to hand them the map. But she never will. The map is written in her body, in her silence, in the restless dance of her gestures. If you wait for the explicit, you will be locked out of her hidden kingdom. If you see the implicit, you will walk through gates others never even notice. The truth is dangerous. Her attraction exists in shadows, and shadows never reveal themselves to the blind. You've ignored it before. That night when she leaned closer, but you stayed frozen. That moment her laughter died into silence, and you filled it with nervous words. That instant her fingers brushed yours, and you pulled away, afraid of misreading her. You thought she didn't want you. You thought you were safe in hesitation. But the truth is, you failed the test. And once failed, it is never repeated. She withdraws. She denies. She rewrites the story in her head. You were never the man who could see. And another man, one with sharper eyes and steadier presence, will take the place you abandoned. The forbidden truth you must carry is this: desire is never spoken. It is only signaled. It is encoded in the body, in silence, in the flicker of eyes and the tremor of hands. She will never admit it, because to admit is to destroy the mystery. But she waits for the man who sees, the man who reads the hidden script, the man who answers without asking. That is the difference between those who watch women slip away and those who enter their secret world. So remember this: her lips may deny, her words may cloak, but her body never lies. Every signal is there, if only you have the eyes to see. If you do not, you will remain blind, fumbling in the dark, watching her vanish into shadows you cannot touch. But if you do, if you learn the language of silence and gesture, you will unlock the forbidden gates she swore no man would ever pass. Desire is never spoken, only signaled. Learn to see it, or be blind forever. Subscribe to the Stoic path for more archetypal truths, Jungian psychology, and timeless philosophy.